Welcome to episode 41 of the Mental Dietitian Podcast. I'm your host, Ahren Lynch-potter, and today's episode is going to be called Feel Your Feelings. A lot's been coming up for me in this Feel Your Feelings kind of subject lately. I've been talking to a lot of men in particular about this, and a lot of men don't feel all their feelings. I've spoke about this at length on other podcasts. You can pretty much hear me talk about it in pretty much all 40 podcasts before this. But I really wanted to talk about certain feelings that have been coming up for me lately and what they have taught me about myself and what they have taught me about being a human being. One of my very good friends, Josh Blunt, passed away recently. It hit me like a truck. It was not fun. He was one of two people that I still remained in very close contact with from back home in Australia. And I got a message on Instagram when I was on a call with a buddy of mine. He said, "Hey man," one of my good friends, Kevin Thoroddson. He's a good man. We used to get up to no good 10 years ago, playing around, being silly. We have lots of memories together. And he hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, to hear about Josh." And as soon as I saw that message, it reminded me of another message that I got about 5 years earlier from one of my good friends, Brett, in Australia. And he said, "Hey man, did you hear about Ben?" Who was another one of my very good friends, probably my best friend. And as soon as I read that message, Ben passed away, by the way, passed away from an overdose, which is very sad, 24, 25. When I read that message, "Hey man, did you hear about Josh?" I knew instantly. I was like, And I asked him. He said, "I heard he passed away." And I called him straight away. And grief is the emotion that obviously comes up when people pass away. And I really had to sit with that emotion. And I'm very proud of myself because in years past, I would have probably not dealt and felt that emotion. So going back to the title of this podcast, Feel Your Feelings, I felt grief. I was like, I'm going to sit here due to a lot of the psychedelic therapy I've done, a lot of the meditation I've done, a lot of the books I've read, a lot of the inner stuff I've done, and in the inner work I've done, the conversations I had, I knew that I had to feel my feelings. I cannot run away from them. I cannot shove them down. They will metastasize and they will cancerize themselves into very unhealthy behaviors. They can cause depression. They cause all kinds of shit. And I was like, okay, I got to feel this. So a few nights I would sit there and I would cry, and Lexi would hold me, and it was beautiful. And it was hard. And I still feel it sometimes now. And grief is one of those very interesting emotions where it comes in waves. A lot of you that have dealt with grief, and every single one of you will deal with grief at some point in your life, the loss of a pet, the loss of a family member, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, the loss of anything. You have grief that comes up. And it comes in waves. It comes like you feel like you're okay, and then you're not okay. And then you feel like you're okay, and then you're not okay. And especially when it comes to a loved one, I really wanted to share this quote that I made a little video for Josh on my Instagram. I'd love for you to go check it out. Go look at it. My Instagram's Ahren Lynch-potter. You'll see it there. And I have found a bunch of pictures that we had together when I still lived in Australia. He was my housemate, and he was like a brother to me, and we were very close. We talked about very deep things, and even now I can feel it coming up. But grief, I've learned, is really just love. It's all the love you want to give but cannot. All the unspent love gathers up in the corners of your eyes, the lump in your throat, and that hollow part in your chest. Grief is just love with no place to go. And I found that quote, and that's exactly what it is. Like, I can't talk to him anymore. He's he's gone from this material plane. He's gone from living in his flesh puppet, which is his body. But you cannot destroy energy, and we are all made up of energy. His soul is somewhere else. And I can still feel it when I sit there and I think about him, and I think about jokes that I would send to him. And I think about things that we would laugh about that only him and I would laugh about, or stories we had, or things that him and I only experienced together. And it's very important to feel these feelings and not shove them away, not deny them. And I know that we live in a culture where you're supposed to be fucking happy all the time. And people get given pills all the time because they're not happy. And it's funny because I think the word happy comes from a Latin root similar to the word happen or happening, to happen. You can't happen all the time because that happened. It means that it came and it came and it went. It's kind of like happiness. And I've said this before, that you can't be happy all the time. And to want to be happy all the time is denying what it means to be a human being. What do I mean by that? If you are constantly seeking to feel joy and happiness all the time, when the natural feelings of anger, rage, grief, frustration, whatever it may be, fear, when these things come up, you'll shove them away. You'll shove them down. I just want to be happy. If I just stay positive, and if I just maybe listen to a positive podcast or read a positive book or listen to something positive or talk to my positive friends, it always lifts me up. Then you're just not being a human. You're not being a proper human. What do I mean by that? What do I mean I'm not being a human? I mean that one of the purposes of being the human, if not the only purpose of being a human being, is to feel everything. Feel everything from joy to rage to anger to frustration, and feel every single thing in between. Feel all of it. Because if you deny one feeling, you're basically shaming a part of yourself and a part of what it means to be a person. And I did this for years with anger. And I'm talking about myself, by the way. But the happiness thing, that used to be me. Anytime I felt sad or angry or anything, I would shame myself and tell myself that I was being negative. Oh, you just got to have a positive mindset all the time. It's like, well, what if you had a shitty day? And we're bombarded with this self-development and self-growth kind of industry where it's like, well, you got to pick yourself up and have a positive mindset and get back to it. And one bad day will turn into a bad week, will turn into a bad month, and turn into a bad life. And you'll get to the end of your life and be like, man, I chose to be angry. Yeah, maybe. Or you're denying what it means to be a human, and you got to feel all the fucking feelings of being a person because you're a human and you're not a robot, and you're not Mr. Positive. You're not Happytron, just this happy robot that has to be happy all the time. And what that did for me is it caused a lot of anxiety. I had excessive sweating underneath my armpits all the time. I had a lot of built up rage, anger, because I always denied myself. I always saw men, that a lot of men's only safe emotion to express that's okay is anger. And I was like, I never want to be like that. If you get angry all the time, there's a certain weakness to you. You're weak if you get angry all the time. So if I have this core belief that when you get angry, you're weak, then why would I let myself ever be angry? So every time I felt angry, it's like, don't be weak. Don't lose control of your emotions. It's like, what if there's something that's actually genuinely to be angry about? What if there is something? What if somebody does something really horrible, or if there's some crazy injustice in the world and you don't allow yourself to feel that anger? Now, there's some people that just feel angry all the time, and they've got a bunch of shit that they need to work on, and that their natural default thing is anger. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you need to feel angry sometimes, that's okay. If you need to cry sometimes, that's all right. You're not fucking weak for it. It's not weak to cry. In fact, I think it takes strength to do that, especially as a man, because we live in a society where it's like, you're a fucking bitch if you cry, which is just ridiculous because, again, you're denying what it means to be a human being. Now, if you're crying every single day and you're miserable, you probably need to do something about it because you are miserable and you are depressed and something's going on that you need to work on. But if you, it's funny, I have a little cry every day. I don't know why my Instagram algorithm shows me these videos of these really cute old cats or cute old dogs. And it's just like this beautiful music playing, this sad music, and then all the videos and all the things of how this dog lived a wonderful life and how the dog's gone. I can feel the emotion. I'm very grateful because it took me a while to get here. So I can feel this emotion come up and I can feel it and then it passes. I'm just like, cool. I'm a feeling human being. I'm a fucking human. And you can feel joy sometimes. You can feel happiness sometimes, and you can feel all of it. And to deny any single emotion, any emotion at all, is to deny oneself the full experience of being a human being. One of my friends, who I haven't actually met him, but I did a podcast with him, he was an actor. And he is an actor. And he said to me, I haven't cried as a man, as an adult man. I've never cried as an adult man. And we kind of had a really cool conversation, a very vulnerable conversation. I was like, well, how could you be a really good actor if you haven't cried as a man, as an adult man? How could anybody be a great actor if they don't feel every spectrum of emotion, every single one, all of them? And I kind of communicated this to him. He's like, that's true, man. Like, it's like, I don't know how. And that's cool. That's amazing of him to say that. And a lot of men don't know how. They've just kind of locked it up. They don't even know how to feel. They don't even know what feelings are. Met men and women that are so closed off to themselves that they just are numb all the time. And it's very sad. And that's why it's so important to feel your feelings. But if you have a recurring feeling that's just over and over and over again, like anger or sadness, or you're just constantly feeling this feeling, then that is your psyche, your body, your trauma, your shit trying to communicate to you, hey, there's something here that you need to pay attention to. There's something you need to work on here. I keep trying to communicate to you by showing how angry you are all the time, but you don't fucking listen. So I'll keep, it's like, life will keep repeating lessons over and over and over again until we actually get it. If you're just an angry person all the time, anger, what's under anger? The base emotion of anger is fear. Have you ever been angry ever in your life and not had some level of fear underneath it? The answer is no. We get angry sometimes, every single time, because of fear. There's some kind of fear. Think about it, somebody threatens your life. Somebody cuts you off in traffic. They're threatening your life. If somebody tries to take your girl, there's a fear of loss there. You're like, how fucking dare you? If somebody tries to hurt you when you're at jiu-jitsu and they're trying to do something that is not safe, they're trying to make, it feels like you're trying to snap your arm, for example. I've trained with people like that. That's like, I don't feel safe. I feel scared. Therefore, it turns into anger instantly. So if somebody's angry all the time, it's because they're scared. What are they scared of? Something. And it's just showing up in their life that way. And there's a lot of men out there like that. A lot of women out there like that. There's a lot of people out there like that. So what's my point? When emotions come, when people die, the dark emotions I'm usually talking about, a lot of people don't need to let themselves be happy. Actually, I'm going to take that back. A lot of people do let themselves need to be happy. Actually, it's interesting as I'm even saying this out loud. I used to just think it was the dark emotions that people wouldn't let themselves feel. It's actually all of them. Some people won't let themselves be happy because they think they don't morally deserve it. They think that it's like this thing that they haven't earned. They need to earn happiness. No, you don't. You're a fucking human. You don't need to earn shit. You are, by default, deserving of happiness, deserving of all the emotions, all of them. It's not even a deserving thing. Deserving implies that there's some kind of thing that you have to do to deserve the thing. It's like you, by default, by existing, have the right to feel all the feelings, the good feelings and the not so pleasant feelings. Because if it was sunny every day, you'd crave the rain. And you don't appreciate the sun until you felt the rain. Love you guys. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about this one, what you get out of this one, and feel your feelings. Talk to you next week.